Breaking: Musk meets Trump behind closed doors. World leaders react. The world paused as news broke that Elon Musk, the visionary entrepreneur whose ambitions have reshaped transportation, space exploration, and energy, had entered a private meeting with former President Donald Trump. The location was undisclosed, shrouded in secrecy, yet the implications were monumental. Analysts, journalists, and global leaders scrambled to interpret what could only be described as a convergence of audacity and influence. To understand the weight of this meeting, one must grasp the personas involved. Elon Musk is a man driven by possibilities that others deem impossible. He has looked beyond Earth's horizon and dared to touch the stars, all while transforming industries once thought immutable. Donald Trump, in his own right, has demonstrated a relentless drive for power, influence, and change, often defying norms and expectations. When such minds meet, the world cannot help but listen, speculate, and anticipate the impact. As the private meeting commenced, speculation grew like wildfire. Social media erupted with hashtags, theories, and predictions. Would this be a discussion about space policy? Could it be a new technological collaboration? Or perhaps a bold political initiative? The ambiguity itself became a catalyst for global attention, proving that leadership is not only about action but about perception, and that perception can inspire millions. Inside the room, sources suggest, the conversation was intense, visionary, and forward-looking. Musk, known for his meticulous focus on innovation, reportedly outlined strategies for integrating cutting-edge technology with national and international policy. Trump, a master of persuasion and strategic positioning, is said to have probed these ideas, weighing them against economic, political, and societal realities. While the content of their dialogue remains classified, the symbolism is clear. The world is witnessing a rare moment where entrepreneurial ambition meets political power, and where ideas have the potential to ripple across borders. The global reaction was immediate. World leaders issued statements ranging from cautious curiosity to enthusiastic support. Analysts interpreted this as a potential pivot point in the relationship between technological advancement and governance. Some feared disruption, while others saw an unprecedented opportunity for progress. In every case, the meeting reaffirmed a universal truth: transformative ideas require bold partnerships, and bold partnerships require courage. From a motivational standpoint, the lesson is profound. The meeting between Musk and Trump exemplifies the courage to engage with the unknown, to challenge conventions, and to seek collaborative solutions in a complex world. It reminds every individual, every leader, and every dreamer that vision without dialogue is incomplete, and influence without purpose is transient. This convergence, behind closed doors, symbolizes the bridge between audacious imagination and actionable strategy. As the hours passed, journalists continued to dissect every available piece of information. Analysts projected potential outcomes in technology, policy, and global economics. Social platforms became arenas for debate, reflection, and inspiration. The meeting was not merely a private encounter, it was a signal to the world that even the most powerful individuals recognized the need for collaboration, foresight, and courage in shaping the future. Even without the details of their conversation, the narrative carries a universal message. Leadership is measured not only by decisions but by the willingness to engage, to explore, and to envision what others cannot. Musk and Trump, despite their vastly different styles, demonstrated that alignment of vision, however temporary or speculative, can catalyze hope, action, and transformation. As the world digested the news, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Markets wavered slightly, not out of fear, but in recognition that something unprecedented was unfolding. Governments convened emergency briefings, not to respond to crisis, but to assess opportunity. Musk and Trump had never met in a setting quite like this, private, deliberate, and unannounced, and the mere act of meeting spoke volumes about the power of initiative. It was a demonstration that leadership is not only exercised in public arenas but in the quiet, strategic conversations that lay the foundation for sweeping change. Observers noted the symbolism: two figures representing seemingly disparate domains, one of technological futurism, the other of political clout, were now in dialogue. Here was a living testament to the principle that meaningful progress often requires the intersection of influence and innovation. Elon Musk's vision of colonizing Mars and redefining energy consumption collided with Donald Trump's experience in governance, media strategy, and mobilizing masses. It was a rare confluence of imagination and authority. Backchannels in global politics buzzed with speculation. Allies and rivals alike tried to interpret the implications. Could Musk's technological innovations gain accelerated adoption through political leverage? Might Trump's future political ambitions be informed by strategic partnerships in the private sector? What policies? What new ventures, what agreements might emerge from a dialogue that no one outside that room could fully witness? And yet, even without the specifics, the meeting itself inspired action. Entrepreneurs, policymakers, and everyday citizens found themselves asking a deeper question: what bold step could I take today that might alter the trajectory of my life or my work tomorrow? For the media, it was a goldmine. Stories were framed in endless permutations. Visionary ambition meets political pragmatism. Private conversation sparks global speculation. The power of dialogue reshapes the world. Yet beneath the sensational headlines lay a motivational core. Success is rarely solitary. Vision alone does not suffice. Even the most brilliant minds must engage with those who hold complementary forms of influence. The meeting was a live demonstration of this truth, a lesson for leaders at every level. Social media amplified the impact exponentially. Analysts broke down patterns of Musk's past partnerships and Trump's political strategies, while commentators speculated on possible outcomes. Memes emerged, debates ignited, and forums filled with discourse. But beyond the surface chaos was a subtle, powerful lesson: influence multiplies when combined with clarity of purpose. Observers who might otherwise have been passive became inspired to act, innovate, or simply rethink the potential of human collaboration. Across continents, classrooms and boardrooms became centers of reflection. In universities, students dissected the meeting not merely for its political or economic implications, but as a case study in ambition, strategy, and courage. In corporate offices, leaders pondered how private conversations could catalyze monumental change. The meeting had become more than an event, it had become a mirror, reflecting the possibilities of action for those willing to step beyond comfort zones. Even as speculation mounted about the content of their discussion, one truth became evident: timing and courage are inseparable from leadership. Musk and Trump had acted without fanfare, recognizing that transformative ideas often require a quiet incubation before they are revealed. There is inspiration in that deliberate discretion, in the knowledge that sometimes the most impactful actions are the ones that unfold behind closed doors, yet reverberate across the world. This meeting, brief as it may have been, symbolized a convergence of vision, strategy, and audacity. It reminded the global audience that the future is never predetermined, and that innovation and influence are most powerful when they intersect. For individuals seeking to make a mark in the world, the lesson was simple yet profound: engage boldly, think expansively, and collaborate without hesitation. The world is watching those who dare, and even when details remain hidden, the energy of ambition inspires far beyond the walls that contain it. As the hours turned into a full day of speculation, world leaders began issuing carefully worded statements. Some expressed cautious optimism, highlighting the potential for innovation-driven policy discussions. Others, more skeptical, warned of unforeseen consequences, acknowledging the disruptive power of converging influence and technological ambition. Yet even the critics, consciously or not, underscored the significance of the event. Musk and Trump, simply by choosing to meet, had set in motion a ripple effect that extended far beyond politics, markets, or technology. It had ignited a global dialogue about courage, foresight, and the responsibility of leadership, inside the private meeting room. According to anonymous sources, the conversation was a mix of visionary planning and pragmatic negotiation. Musk, ever the futurist, reportedly emphasized the urgency of integrating advanced technology into societal frameworks before challenges became insurmountable. Trump, with his characteristic strategic acumen, is said to have probed the feasibility of large-scale implementation, considering economic, political, and logistical realities. Even without full disclosure of their discussion, the interplay between imagination and grounded strategy offered a living example of what motivated leadership looks like in practice: a willingness to dream boldly, yet evaluate carefully, and always act decisively. For millions watching from afar, the meeting became a symbol of possibility. It reminded people that leadership is not confined to speeches, tweets, or appearances. It is demonstrated in decisive action, in the willingness to step into uncertainty, and in the courage to engage with those whose vision complements or challenges one's own. Musk and Trump, in that room, were embodying a universal principle: collaboration between unconventional vision and conventional power can yield results no single individual could achieve alone. The media frenzy was relentless. Every potential implication was analyzed in painstaking detail. Markets speculated on new ventures, tech enthusiasts predicted innovation accelerations, and political analysts debated the long-term consequences. Yet beneath the headlines and projections, there was a subtle motivational lesson for the public. The world responds not only to talent, wealth, or authority, but to the audacity to act. Musk and Trump had acted in alignment with their principles, demonstrating that courage in leadership inspires more than just followers. It galvanizes the imagination of entire societies. Across the globe, individuals began drawing personal lessons from the unfolding events. Entrepreneurs found encouragement to take risks in the face of uncertainty. Policymakers reflected on the potential of integrating technology with governance in ways previously considered impossible. Students contemplated the power of audacious collaboration. Ordinary citizens, witnessing the convergence of such immense influence, were reminded that even the most unlikely partnerships can spark monumental change when guided by vision, courage, and a sense of purpose. At the heart of the global response was a fundamental truth: progress often comes from the intersection of daring ideas and strategic execution. Musk and Trump, in choosing to meet privately, had exemplified this principle. Their actions reminded the world that leadership requires more than recognition. It demands initiative, dialogue, and the ability to navigate complexity with clarity and conviction. They had created a live demonstration of inspirational leadership, illustrating that when powerful ideas meet determined execution, the results can reverberate far beyond the immediate moment. Even without public disclosure of their conversation, the symbolism was clear. It was a statement that vision must be paired with influence, that ideas alone are insufficient without action, and that collaboration across diverse realms of expertise can ignite progress at unprecedented scales. The meeting was a reminder that leadership is measured not by titles or accolades but by the courage to act, to engage with others, and to envision a future that others cannot yet see. By the end of the day, one undeniable reality emerged. The world was watching, inspired not by the specifics of a conversation but by the principles it represented. Musk and Trump had reminded humanity of the power inherent in bold, purposeful action. They demonstrated that even in a complex, uncertain, and often divided world, there are moments when leadership, vision, and courage converge to spark hope, motivate change, and illuminate a path forward. As the story of the Musk-Trump meeting spread, its influence began to manifest in unexpected ways. In boardrooms across the world, executives started re-evaluating their approach to collaboration. The private nature of the meeting underscored a lesson that resonated deeply with leaders. While public recognition has value, the most transformative decisions often occur behind closed doors, away from the noise and distraction of external judgment. Innovation, when paired with deliberate strategy, can ignite change far more effectively than public declarations alone. Educators seized the moment as well. Universities began incorporating case studies inspired by the meeting, emphasizing the intersection of technology, leadership, and strategic foresight. Students were challenged to think critically about the balance between vision and execution, imagination and pragmatism, and the courage required to bring ambitious ideas into reality. Professors highlighted the importance of taking calculated risks, seeking unconventional alliances, and understanding that impactful leadership requires both audacity and discernment. The world was beginning to understand that the implications of this meeting were less about politics or wealth and more about mindset, about the principles of leadership that drive progress in any domain. The global political landscape, meanwhile, shifted subtly but perceptibly. Allies and rivals alike re-evaluated priorities. International organizations noted the symbolic power of collaboration between innovation and governance, recognizing the potential for public-private partnerships that could accelerate problem-solving on a planetary scale. Musk and Trump had created a narrative that transcended borders. The meeting was not just an American story, it was a lesson for global citizens about the necessity of courage, clarity of purpose, and the willingness to engage in high-stakes dialogue to solve pressing challenges. Social media continued to amplify the meeting's impact. Viral posts drew attention to the importance of vision-driven leadership. Commentators and influencers emphasize that leadership is not passive, it requires active engagement with those who hold complementary skills, resources, or perspectives. Across platforms, Ordinary individuals shared personal reflections inspired by the event, stories of renewed ambition, innovative projects, and commitments to collaboration. The meeting had become a catalyst not only for discussion among the powerful but for action among everyday people seeking to make their mark. Meanwhile, analysts and journalists dissected the strategic lessons of the encounter. They observed how the combination of Musk's futuristic thinking and Trump's political savvy created a template for high-impact collaboration. It became clear that influence alone is insufficient without alignment with purpose, and vision alone is insufficient without strategic execution. This principle, applied broadly, offered guidance for leaders in every field. The power to change the world resides not in isolation but in purposeful alliances, guided by clarity, courage, and shared ambition. The motivational lessons were particularly striking. Musk and Trump had demonstrated that bold action requires confronting uncertainty without hesitation. They had illustrated that leadership is not merely about ambition but about engagement, about seeking out meaningful conversations, exploring unconventional ideas, and forging paths where none seemed to exist. The symbolic weight of their private meeting became a reminder that greatness emerges not from waiting for perfect conditions but from the willingness to act decisively, to collaborate, and to embrace responsibility for outcomes that extend far beyond oneself. Even as speculation about the specifics of the meeting continued, one truth became universally acknowledged. The world responds not only to power but to purpose. Musk and Trump had, intentionally or not, provided a living lesson in the intersection of influence, vision, and courage. Their meeting was a call to action for leaders, entrepreneurs, and citizens alike, to seek collaboration across domains, to challenge conventional boundaries, and to act boldly when opportunity presents itself. In that sense, the meeting was more than a private conversation. It was a beacon of inspiration, a reminder that transformative leadership requires initiative, engagement, and the courage to imagine the impossible. As evening fell across continents, the reverberations of the meeting continued. Analysts predicted potential collaborations that could reshape industries. Investors speculated on shifts in technology and infrastructure. Policymakers considered the integration of forward-thinking innovation into national strategies. And yet, amid all the calculation and conjecture, the underlying lesson remained clear: leadership is measured not by headlines, not by accolades, but by the ability to act boldly, collaborate meaningfully, and envision a future that others have yet to see.